So, July 14th, 2026. You know, today some big guy showed up. Okay? I was down in Delroy, Carrollton area, showed up. Said I heard she stole more money. She was supposed to work off what she owed for the drug lord. The event horrors never stop. You know, that's where May 25th, 25, where they already set an 18 bill from the Freemasons, big scam of who could steal her money and come up with the best scam to steal her money. Ran a scam off of it. May 25th, 25, Hollister's teenagers were laughing. Boy, did Bill from the Freemasons run the biggest scam here. Had some guy go in and drug her up and tell her to say that. Can you imagine drugging somebody up and tell him to say something like that? And then had another guy videotape her washing in the shower and put that in the other room to make her look weird with herself. And then he scammed everyone into helping out by who could come up with a big scam, who could steal her money. Scammed everyone into helping out. That's where May 26, 25, the other cartel comes in. We heard they were making fun of Bill from the Freemasons scam of the dirty doctor not being one of hers, works for them, and they had lied he was one of her doctors. And the whole thing's a scam from Bill. That's where May 30th, 25, 1 o'clock in the morning, the Louisville police found that surveillance, and then they found the case. Said her ex-husband hired 2 men on his own. One was saying he was an attorney, so it made it legal. No, it made it worse legal. What is a jail sentence for an attorney hired by a husband to set up body cameras in a private home without the wife's knowledge or consent? Disbarment immediately, 5 to 20 years. If you put drugs, beat, and rape under it, it's life. Where did you think an attorney could be a gangster, could take any rights away? Under the color of the law, no one can take your rights away. That includes the freedom of speech. See, that's where these retarded people, that agent was only bullying me. He can't tell anyone they can't say anything. It's a freedom of speech. He has no right to tell anybody. He was only bullying me. That's why I offered to, they wrote up a statement that I was willing to stay while they got surveillance. Willing to face bodily harm and injury, knowing the agency alone would be paying me and compensating for me for my injuries, knowing my First Amendment rights of freedom of speech. Okay? That agent was only bullying me and didn't have the authority to even ask me to stay quiet, and the agency would be taking care of it. It takes it to a knowledgeable worker risking her life to help them. That's paid and compensated out of fraud. You know, Agent John, there's a big, big problem with Henry Maffei supposed to be your prostitute's dad, and he's the one trying to pull a fast one on the FBI and steal from him. There's a big problem with that one. A big problem. See where they said that July 5th, 26, between 2:30 and 3, my car is bugged being an FBI informant. A guy was out there. The drug lord found out that the guy they call Henry Maffei's kid was laughing in a restaurant. She stole all her money. She was never to get a dime. A person like that. She was only to date. She was given from the drug lord. The drug lord gave her to that agent to date. So convince him to throw out the case. So it'd be thrown out under fraud. And the drug dealers that were arrested would be released. And they could sue for tens of millions of dollars under fraud. False arrest under fraud. Not for her to get a dime. See that's some guy showed up. I found out she stole more money. She was supposed to be working her debt off. You know, today, when people found out how far. Okay. People need, you know, that Alice in Wonderland going down the rabbit hole of insanity. They need to stop going down the rabbit hole of insanity for that prostitute and these people. Everything they have done breaks. If you put what is a jail sentence and then what they say, comes up with the law and sometimes the codes and the jail sentences. They're federal crimes, most of them. Just like they said, an opposing attorney found a doctor from before they paid off to write up she was insane and was willing to talk to him. A doctor cannot write you up as insane. If there's real mental illness, they are required, mandated by law to transfer you to a state psychiatric hospital. Mandated. The state gets a hold of a court. You are mandated to have a competency hearing and a jury trial. They set you up with a guardian, social worker, and placed on disability. Okay? You can't pay somebody to write up fraud. That is ridiculous. Half my medical records where I had somebody use, back then you didn't have to show your ID. Half my medical records are some other ladies. They got it out of Dave. It was another girlfriend of his. And he was letting her use my insurance. Half my medical records are another girlfriend of his. Okay? (1867), the personal liberty law. Doctors were actually taking payoffs for husbands that didn't want their wives no more. Had them locked up in institutions instead of divorcing them and then divorce them afterwards so they wouldn't get anything. They outlawed it. A doctor can't be in it with your husband. That is HIPAA. I'll give you an example too. Carl, my new husband, these people told them that they could have enough people write up that he had dementia, Alzheimer's. They could bash in his head if he didn't die, kidnap him, take him out to Youngstown, have an attorney find him incompetent, and they could walk off with everything you got. You can't go around bashing old people's heads in and kidnapping them and stealing from them. And they can't even request a competency hearing. It's illegal. They can't even request it. It's a federal crime. They even went to the point, his son threatened, his second wife, Brenda, his one daughter has some kind of medical license, threatened to have her call the VA and say she's got dementia and Alzheimer's. He hadn't seen her in like 2 years. Okay? And we told the VA about it. Said she better not pick up that phone. She better not pick up that phone. She has a medical license. Not only when she picks up that phone and she tries to discuss any kind of medical information on Carl, without signed consent, picture ID on both, and we verbally hear it from him, on top of it, that we can talk to her. She just lost her medical license. Forever. It's HIPAA. It's unforgiving with medical license. And she just bought herself mandatory 10 years in federal prison. She better not pick up that phone. So, with that law, what is wrong with her scenario? Your doctor can't be in it with Dave. They can't even tell you his diagnosis without your consent. They can't be willing to talk to an opposing attorney. They can't give him your medical records. They show up at a police station, an opposing attorney with one of your doctors bad-mouthing you. What are they to do by federal law? Arrest them. For healthcare fraud, wire fraud, HIPAA violations, medical malpractice, and stealing medical records. That's 40 to 50 years. 40 to 50 years to show up at a police station with a fraud scheme like that. You know what is not funny? A year ago, I went to my community health. A lady doctor said, I want to read the notes. An office hired a psychiatrist on their own to evaluate her. No one's allowed to say anything because it was an office. What is wrong with that? An office can't hire a psychiatrist. They can't evaluate you. I don't know what office, don't know what psychiatrist. I don't have one. Was never evaluated. Never signed consent to be evaluated. Didn't sign a release for them to send it to another doctor. That letter alone is 40 years. They actually paid a psychiatrist off to write up fraud. See, that's where people around me said, where they're bragging they did it to her before. They actually did it this time. They paid somebody off to write up fraud that she's never met. They've already confessed that Dr. from before is not one of mine, works for them, and they had lied. He was one of my doctors. She actually don't know who he is. Dave told Danny it's just some guy named Pete he hired on his own, Pete and his men, and like the prostitute Henry Murphy's daughter said, it was drug dealers in my home doing it, not a doctor. Okay? So, these people made up Twilight Zone scams. We had the right to break in her home to surveillance her. We had special permission. There's no such thing. You lose your license, you go to jail 5 to 20 years. You don't get special permission. We had the right to drug her to get the truth out of her. That's pharmaceutical torture. It's up to 50 years. You have a right to be silent. See, don't listen to these people. They're insane. Don't go down the rabbit hole of drug dealers and prostitutes. Then, in 18, they had, in Walmart 62, they came in and said, bring in the other John so we get away with this. This guy walks by, he looks just like my son, but he's taller. Puts his nose up in the air and walks off. Okay. All right. Now, I told Carl how Melissa got caught friends with that Michelle, and even working with two guys that said they work for the drug lord, and Melissa was willing to help them get away with it by having the kids lie. They followed around, caught her telling the kids to lie, and then on Thanksgiving of 18 that they wanted the house for Auntie Shell and Papa. Then later on to Flora, they made everything up. They were games of pretend. Okay. When I went to John, I said, what on earth is going on? He's like, I don't know. I told Melissa, that's his ex-wife, that you're going through a divorce, moving up. She'll have the kids make up something, but don't worry about it. Nobody can say anything bad about you. He said the same thing about his her church people, that nobody can say anything bad about you, just be made up because of the divorce. Totally defends me several times. Okay. About a year later, Melissa pulled a mean stunt with him. She snuck in his house. Okay. He's in the bathroom. He walks out. She lunges at him, screaming. He pushed her, being startled. She laughed. Now I got you. Had him arrested for domestic violence. That's not domestic violence. That's breaking and entering. Lost his kids for a year. He called me up. He said, Mom, I want to try to get custody back of my kids. And he said, I need you to be a reliable name on a court record to babysit those kids. I said, John, I don't get off my first job, let alone my second job. I barely make it now. But Mom, these are my kids. And I could hear the pain in his voice. And it's ripping in my heart. And I'm like, John, I'm sorry. I'll lose my apartment. I barely make it now. He lost his kids. He moved to Florida, met this new woman, married her, started a new church, started his own church, and they had a baby, and he looks happier than ever. He had to get away from the call. Okay? I was telling Carl about that. June 13th, 14th of 25, we pull in Katana's restaurant. People pull in and said, if John's in Florida, who's riding around with a mask on him to kill her? Okay? Some guy showed up outside my work. If John's been in Florida, who I've been talking to, we don't know if they had somebody impersonate him. Okay? Well, May 24th, 26th, Myers, North Main, in North Canton, Ohio. We pull in, and I look up, and the guy looks like the pretend John, but he looks shaven now, or he had a full beard. I said something to Carl. He said, he does look like your son. That picture you showed me. He's walking in with a white girl with black hair. When we go up to the veggies, he walks up to me. How did it go years ago? Oh, yeah. And I thought, oh my God, it's you. The girl picks up her phone and says, how dumb were they bringing the pretend John in to verify everything in front of the police and vets? They knew this whole thing was a scam on her. Oh, they were making fun of her because Agent John stole her money? See, that's where if I don't get paid, I don't sign like a willing worker, knowing my rights, willing to risk my life, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, they did this. Knowledgeable worker, knowing what they're facing, or participating in what they're facing, but knowing the agency will pay me and compensate me, that I'm a willing, knowledgeable worker, and that other agent was just bullying me. And they pay me and compensate me. It takes me from being victimized to a knowledgeable worker. Okay? Well, people today found out. They used to pretend John. And the date's where to find it. June 3rd, 23. I pull in Louisville gas station. My car's bogged by the police and the FBI. The electrical companies. My son used to be a union rep. Thousands of connections. Was even a college professor. Okay. He, and then he was a manager of several places. Knows thousands of people. Told hundreds of people, if not more, that I had never hurt anyone. And because I pull in, they said, hey, isn't that John's mom? He said she's never hurt anyone. And because of these people, he may never see his mom again. I know, and that's his mom. And he said that she's never hurt anyone. And it's just these people. Where they lied, he verified it for him. No, he didn't. And then that's where, how stupid do you sound? Somebody drugged me up, and it's a drug dealer, drugged me up and told me to say something horrible. And I don't even know who did it. And these people admitted to using hypnotic drugs. Hypnotic drugs cause sleepwalking for 4 to 6 hours. And that they were stabbing me as I'd walk by, and we had bees in the house. And I was always wanting to think I got stung or bit by something. And I'm looking for an insect, and somebody had just reached out that shouldn't have even been in my home, that I didn't even know they were there. Some fucking rapist, drug dealer, hiding in my house. Go out and sit down and take a drink out of a Diet Coke, and the room goes dizzy. And I come out, I got bruises on me, throwing up, heart racing. I haven't even left my home, never seen or talked to anybody. The well water is orange and chunky. I thought it was toxic. We move in there, and within a week, I'm covered in bruises, severely infected, throwing up, headache, dizzy, almost passing out, going to the doctor. Is it the well water? Is it toxic? Trying to make sense of what's happening to me. And at times, I just take a shower, dry off, get in bed, and wake up like that, and thinking it's a well water. The doctor's like, they told me, I said, how stupid do I sound thinking it's a well water? They said, it's actually logical. If it would have been toxic, all that stuff would have happened. We want to think it's a well water. A nurse told me this, besides a doctor. We want to think it's a well water. We want to think it's autoimmune, a virus. But in the back of our head, we know about rapists playing with people and harming them. A fucking rapist did this. June 7th, 25, in the morning, the investigators are outside. They had went to Dr. Haben, the kids' pediatrician, from 1984 to 2002. He had seen him 3 or 4 times a year. There was no sign of any abuse, no sign of neglect, and very well taken care of. MD proof, nobody got hurt. Like people have said, how dumb are these people? You can't just basically roofie somebody, tell them to say something horrible, and say you're part of a roofie. You actually have to have proof, medical proof, it happened. You have to have police reports, police investigations, prosecution, physical evidence. You can't just roofie somebody. How stupid are they? And you can't have mean jokes. And nobody's ever got hurt but the victim that they're playing with. That's how dumb these people are. They think they can victimize people. Do you know where they put up my informant money for auction? Like it was up for auction? People would show up. Thieves came out of everywhere. I'm a single mother. Oh, I got a bunch of kids. I deserve her money. You don't deserve my money. Where the fuck did you think you deserve my money? Were you raped? Were you tortured? Was your skull bashed in? Were you beat until your intestines have large pouching in it? Did you have to go bladder spasm medicine for being tortured? Were you human trafficked? Is your rib cage damaged? Is your shoulder damaged? Did you live through the horror? No, I did. I earned it trying to save my family. You can't just go around victimizing people and think you're so much better than everybody else that you can think and harm people and steal from them. No one deserves that money. Oh, why do you think the FBI let this happen? Well, what did the sheriff say? They thought Agent John was acting that way to get the drug dealers. And when he showed up at that courthouse, September 10th, 25, Tuscarawas County Courthouse, they realized he, with opposing attorney, that's a federal crime of 20 years of obstruction to justice and tampering with a witness. Trying to get the case thrown out. You know, these people are so dumb. They told Carl's family if they got enough people to write it up, they could make him have a competency hearing. Talk to attorneys, talk to the VA. That's ridiculous. They don't have any right. They can't even request one. Just like these people made up, oh, we're going to have enough people write up she acts insane and we'll demand a competency hearing. And we'll have to pay a lot of people to go down there and lie. You can't even request one. It's a federal law. You have to stay in a state psychiatric hospital. They get a hold of courts. They request it. They took it out of doctors' hands and turned it over to the state. 1867 personal liberty law. So dirty doctors don't take payoff to write up fraud. And you know what's really something? Where like June 29th, 26th, Altman Hospital emergency room stat care in Louisville. The doctor walks out after treating Carl, goes in a room. He's talking to somebody. He said, I never noticed before her legs are crooked. I looked it up. She does have degenerative joint disease. He said, and I looked up the doctors from before. They're all brought up as fraud. Everything's brought up as fraud. Medical malpractice and medication errors. And there's no excuse they didn't pull her off those medicines. They almost killed her with her whole body swelling up. Heart attack, seizures, thyroid, adrenal gland shut down. No wonder other doctors thought she was dying. They almost killed her. See, it's everything from my muscles locking up to going to a bunch of crackpots, wrote up a bunch of false diagnoses, gave me a bunch of wrong meds, and almost killed me. And my community health said they were known for lying, falsely diagnosing people, ripping them off, getting kickbacks from drug companies, and wanting to do unnecessary procedures and sharing them with their associates and friends doing the same thing, ripping people off. Get an attorney and sue them, will represent you in court. They've almost killed you. Tell the medical board, so they pulled her license. I had investigators show up. Those doctors better thank God we didn't know about all that healthcare fraud. They'd still be in jail. So everything's already documented fraud. And then the FBI even got it out of Dave's girlfriend. I Dave that it was a girlfriend that he was letting use my insurance for 15 years and half my medical records are hers. It wasn't random identity theft where you didn't have to show your ID back then. It was deliberate fraud. It's like every kind of fraud in the world. See, they already told the FBI and police in 18. Officer Mark picked up my records and they already verified it for him. Get the idea. Everything's already brought up as fraud. Mental illness and mental insanity is not curable. Like the investigator said, the only time you can be insane and then fine is medication-induced psychosis. They give you the wrong medication, it makes you crazy, like LSD or something like that, you're tripping. Or they flat out lied. It's not curable. It's a deep brain injury. That's why you have to stay in a state psychiatric hospital. The state takes over because you're going to become a ward of the state. They have to get a hold of the courts. It's mandatory. It's handled this way. Mandatory that you have a competency hearing by federal law. It's a personal liberty law of 1867. You just can't pay off somebody a write-up fraud. That's stupid. And what's really bad is they have paid off somebody apparently to write up fraud this time. And where the investigators had wrote up those doctors as negligent. They were too stupid to realize her muscles locked up, threw every false diagnosis on her in the world, gave her the wrong medicine, and almost killed her. It's better to be known as negligent than premeditated attempted murder. Do you know it is a federal crime for an attorney to work a case against an FBI informant? It's obstruction of justice and tampering with a federal witness. It is illegal for an attorney to have that informant stalked, harassed, and try to ruin him. It is a federal crime of 20 to life. It is a federal crime for them to try to steal your informant money because you are an immunity from the government. 90 or 95% of the people in the witness protection program are criminals, bad ones, drug dealers. And they flip them if they go get information on somebody that they actually want. They'll erase their whole past. Put them in immunity and give them money the rest of their life. Only a small percent are victims. You know, even a Massillon police officer, like last year, was talking to someone in uniform. We all have been playing that well to get all his drug connections. They were acting like they were going along with it, like they thought Agent John was. Just acting. So were these idiots, why do you think the FBI didn't help her? Well, they thought it was an act to get the drug dealers to trick them into showing up so they can grab them. They didn't know Agent John was really with them. The agency needed to take care of him. And people even said we wish they would take her offer of being a willing worker, knowing her rights, knowing she was facing harm, but still willing to stay while they got surveillance. They'd pay me and compensate me for my injury and knowing my rights that he was only bullying me. I got to get into work. I hope they do. But if not, all those drug dealers are going to walk. And it's not my fault. None of this is. But these thieving whores showing up that they deserve my money. Why would you deserve anything? Who made you God that you think you can rob victims? Your children need to be taken from you because you're dangerous and you're a criminal. And you could harm them for money. Because you're proving you can be part of having somebody else harmed for money. See, that's where these people are crazy. I gotta go.